Knife dope. More dope. Come and get your fix. What's up, fuckers? Your boy's back with a fresh batch of dope. Knife dope. That's right, people. The hits don't stop. Please forgive my heavily bandaged fingers today. I was fucking around and I found out. But pain is love and love is pain. And speaking of love, I absolutely love this Spyderco Spy Mito. Now, I know a lot of you guys have managed to secure one yourself based on the comments. So I'm happy for y'all, especially if you like the knife. There was one individual who told me that he wasn't really feeling it. He had mentioned that he felt the actual lock bar was a little bit janky. Now, if it was up to me, the word janky, I wouldn't have used that to describe what he's trying to say, but I get what he's trying to say. It's just a little bit, rather quite a bit more narrow than what he might be used to, than what most of us might be used to. But because of his comment, I took it upon myself to do a little bit of measuring using the calipers of freedom. And I found out that there is a difference, as a matter of fact, on these Spydercos. Typically, Taichung Taiwan does the titanium knives for Spyderco. And I did a little bit of measuring. I decided to measure up right beneath the tang of the blade where your lock bar makes contact. The Spy Mito had 88 thousandths. This Slish Buoy had 109 thousandths. So there is a difference, But that being said, I still think this is a fantastic knife. I don't really mind that narrower lock bar. The knife itself seems to function good for me. As a matter of fact, I have been doing a little bit of cutting with it, and I'm digging this hoe. Now, as good as that is and as great as that sounds, that's not what we're here to talk about. Not at all. Got a new one that was sent to me by Tommy motherfucking Mack. And so without further ado, let's get to the dope. Now, quickly, I have another brief announcement to make. I had some shit that took place, or rather transpired, or rather that was brought to my attention. I think it was on Thursday of last week. And I'm going to be addressing it very, very soon. Unfortunately, as great as this community is, there really are some shitbags in the community. And I was reminded of that last week. It really put me in a dark place, people. This channel that my videos in this channel is just it's just for fun. I really never took it that serious, but I have met some people along the way. Some of them I consider friends. Some of them I thought they were friends. But I was reminded exactly last weekend of how you really do not know people. You think you know people, but you really don't. I know that may be a cryptic message at this time, but I promise you it will be addressed. I'm kind of waiting to see what this individual is going to do, if they're going to attempt to right the wrong they did. But regardless, I will address it, and it will be addressed with vigor. All right, people, let's get back to the dope. We got one coming to us from Microtech. Now, this is a model that I had contemplated buying a few times last year, but I never pulled the trigger for one reason or another. But this is a special one. This is not what it appears to be out the box. This is an MSI. However, you see those letters right there? OG goats in the building, people. Now, the MSI typically comes in at about $177 for this version prior to the mod. This version comes normally with the injection molded polymer scales. However, Mr. Tommy Mack is a man like myself who is all about that mod life. And I tell you what, this knife is fantastic with these scales. We've got a single form of deployment, which is this generous cutout. Now, the version on these OG goat scales that Mr. Mack went with is what they call Stocky Goat version 2. These come in, or rather the finish he went with is called the buff finish, or in the buff. After using the discount code of fucker, which saved him 15%, he ended up only paying $80 for these scales. So here we go. Let's check the knife out. Okay. Now, you know, one of the deterring things that I had heard about the knife that kind of made me not want to get it was people were saying just how sloppy the action was. You know, this is utilizing Microtech's ram lock, which is essentially their take on the crossbar lock. I would actually consider this closer along the lines to the Demko Shark Lock. Granted, they have the slides on the side of the knife versus the top, but they all use a coil spring. Now, this full-size knife comes in at 8.9 inches, so just underneath 9 inches as far as overall length. We've got 3.8 inches in this wonderful modified sheep's foot apparatus. Nice high flat grind, full-length swedge on the spine of the blade. Now, the steel they're using is Bowler M390 MK. That's right, MK from Microtech Knives. Now, you know, when they first made that announcement last year, when they first started coming out with these MSIs, a lot of people were kind of like, you know, giving the side eye because I think some tests have took place. And as far as I understand it, the reported rating, or rather the readings on the HRC was less than stellar, less than optimal. And I think Microtech's argument is that they're trying to give us a tougher steel. But, you know, I'm not a metallurgist, and probably neither are you, so we'll just leave it at that. We've got 158 thousandths as far as blade stock thickness. Ergonomically, we do have a nice little spot for you to choke up and get that full purchase, no refund. Plenty of real estate on this handle. We've got a ambidextrous tip-up stainless steel pocket clip. It's actually got a serial number on there, I believe. Now, if you're not familiar with MSI, what it stands for is Marine, goddamn, see how I went back to that? Microtech Standard Issue. So the name is cool in itself. Prior to these scales, the weight came in at 4.52 ounces. These are linerless. To be honest, I am not sure if the knife in its original format has liners or not. But here she goes. It looks wonderful, man. You know, if you're not familiar with Original Goat as far as their scales go, you know, if I'm being honest, they are manufacturing the best scales, best quality, best prices. You know, give them a shot, man. I can't recommend them enough, and they've got several models to choose from. Now let's go ahead and put some knives up for some size comparison. Basically, a little bit of knife flexing. You know how the fuck we do. Gotta roll with America first. We're gonna start out like this. The Spyderco Manix 2, also rocking those Original Goat scales. Then we're gonna go with more Spyderco vibes, one of my grail knives. And that is going to be the Python. So the MSI is bigger than both of those. Let's do a couple more, shall we? How about my only Microtech knife in my collection currently? And that's the Microtech SOCOM Bravo Mini, which is actually OEM by Reich, but still a great knife nonetheless. Then we've got one of Miguron's best this year, and that, of course, is the Miro. I tell you, people, either this Mini SOCOM or this Miro are two of my favorite pickups this year. I cannot recommend them enough. Let's do two more. God damn it, two more. More American dope for your palate. We're going to go with the McNeese Mac 2 3.5 rendition. Last but certainly not least, got to roll out with Big Mama. We're talking about the Demko AD20. Also rocking those Original Goat scales. And also smaller than that MSI. Yep. If I was to get an MSI, it would be mandatory for me to add these Original Goat scales. I don't know if they offer them in titanium. You know, your boy is a titanium hoe. So if that was the case, I would definitely need to do that. But nonetheless, their aluminum feels so premium that it kind of blurs the line for me as far as titanium versus aluminum. I mean, they just do such a fantastic job. Love to support them. I recommend that you do the same. Now, something else I want to point out to you is on the actual slide for your ram lock, they have put their stepped pattern. I think they may even have a patent on that. Don't quote me. Looks like we've got T8s as far as body screws and T15 in the pivot. But all in all, I am impressed and thankful for Mr. Mack for sending this hoe down my way. But yeah, there she is. Microtech MSI. But more importantly, I want to know what you fuckers think. Are you a fan of this MSI? How about are these scales? Tell me all about it. Love you, mean it. Until the next time. Cut something, cut someone. Just don't cut yourself. Stay dangerous, fuckers!